Space is a temporal concept. The snails mount the stairs up the left side of the temple, followed by treble notes, a cappella, loud as a jazzed-up car with bass rumbling our eardrums, while suspended overhead is a 2-ton Aztec calendar, or facsimile. The velveteen texture of the golf greens depends on enough herbicides and fertilizer to poison all our drinking water forever. Center stage, wide-eared clown and Lord Death stand back to back, locked in sardonic debate, while a roulette wheel spins the diorama up onto another level of existence, for which, dear Diana, not even your spectacular marble profile at the Met has prepared us. Now, 2 archways rub shoulders. A crane lifts wheat and barley fields and multiple heirloom varieties of hydroponic tomatoes. Every object shimmers, images etched across ever more luscious faces and tender lips. Before thoughts were formed, they were being broadcast from these diamond-shaped mobiles in a fever of daylight, but delicately because time, evil in intent, is zipping by. They put your left foot in butter and then your right foot in, and as the vision recedes, the pastry chef is crowned and rides off on a float down Fifth. The arrow says, up. We follow doggedly because all the water's transported in metal pipes and aqueducts. Everyone who makes it to the top is rewarded with fountains of clean, aerated H2O. The children are offered ice cream, free, of course, and we gorge on marshmallows, gathered around fires that spring up spontaneously as far as the eye can see. When we begin the long migration toward magnetic north, fault lines underfoot, deep and ragged, the homeless are with us. Absent loved ones join us, my father included, and all the emotional debris of a lifetime hovers overhead, flashing and rotating in a vast vertical column, as eager to befriend us as a lost puppy. Unquantifiable. He isn't himself since, lips thinner, chin doubled. He lives in a large cardboard box under the railway bridge. He swings along the trestles in the evenings, sometimes drools, sometimes whistles an old tune about District 6. Flecks of memory whirl across his mind, competing with a diorama in which he peers at a train racing overhead in early summer. There's been too much rain, a mist hangs. He recalls backing away from someone who was shouting. He was pleading with her, then his shirt was in shreds. Only tufts of his hair were left. When he rubs the shiny patches of his face and neck, her voice is nearly audible. To hear better, he bends to ground level among the centipedes and beetles. Drunk monk. We scooted by another sun-hammered hamlet on 2 or 4 wheels, the pre-urban scrawl lodged under obfuscated light, unilluminating, hazy, Teflon, Jersey boys, razor-wire deterrents as numerous as the yellowed leaflets distributed poisson fashion from the pugnacious gravel-grown trees. Lifespans measured in half-decades, not half-lives like before. Battened down along the embankment, tin sheets flex their muscles. A voice-over precedes the rustling of migrant crows. The vagaries of the universe are my newest responsibility. Ether in a hanky pressed hastily against cracked lips. I'm required on the train station platform to plunge a hypodermic into the heart of this guy, OD'd and collapsed like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. Drunk monk, meet me at the inbound, your firewall or mine. Sheet metal music. Moored dreamily and rocking like the elderly beyond recall. On a whim, we leap from beribboned flanks of forest, straight onto the tethered riverboat, grab fiddle and washboard, mingle with the ever-changing crew, and gamble away the past. By day 3, we are ravenous, and maroon-skinned trees jitterbug wildly a few meters above the water. Rather than steer, the captain takes to his trumpet. His piercing notes create leaf fall, and autumn deepens. Frogs hibernate in enormous heaps, and water moccasins sway to his beat, temporarily relieved of their aggressive souls. Cedars arch overhead like archaic elements in medieval sculpture, the midnight horror tree with its dentures clattering. We vault over the side. Past magnolias ripening and winding their cloying perfume around and around our breasts, past sweet gum and catbrier, we glimpse the door of no return in the sun-pocked distance. We mistake it for our exit and jump through, colliding with somebody's Delta blues. The former Danceuse contemplates an eggplant-tinted galaxy. Daffodil on a stick, pinwheel or discarded magic wand, the usual array of exploded stars, a vast indifference. Her skirt, electric antique lace, froths and bubbles like Hokusai's surf. In the deep shade of her eccentric hat, a great stir of electrons, a flicker in the opalescence, poised to push against some larger circumference. Fragrance of forgotten choreographies. Windows silver-streaked and backlit. She's elusive, then stratified, then transparent. She fears only the hazards of night black. Into pulsating silence she is flung, uranium-eyed, imprisoned in static electricity, adjusting for night blindness. She becomes a horizon, blackouts emanating from so many paper cuts. Lava bubbles into her sleep. Subterraneously, she inhales volcanoes. She plots an expedition to her interior, lit by a rapidly sinking moon. Crunch of bones and charcoal underfoot. Tread lightly. Oh, siqueros. One gloved fist, raised, calls down fire. She has a tambourine, not an obligation to family. A dead ringer for no one. She's a slurry of human feeling traveling through the barren topography, captivated by its misdeeds. Painstakingly, she lifts her foot. Romantic suffering is everywhere. There's a scorpion with stinger raised, constructed of 18th century Japanese armor, burnished but brooding like a scholar. In the second take, she lowers her foot, kicks sand, flings away her tambourine. The scorpion jumps sideways, uncannily levitates. On the ground appears a labyrinth of ink cubes and variations on indigo. She is loose, at a loss in the semi-dark. The magnified tenor sax, hyperbolic. The Mickey escapade, did you catch that? Her fingers elongate into piano keys, flashing écru, then iridescent blue. She's searching for separation of body and mind, while everyone else foments amalgamation, sticks, straw, memories. The labyrinth has no heart, and the exit is blocked. So she takes a long detour through saturation into virtuosity and beyond. Dog star rising. I recognize that skittering sound. Iguana toenails on high-gloss linoleum. Yes, customer service assures me at the counter. We do animism. If I lapse into the merely descriptive, I fail to adequately address my feelings. I had hoped at least once to experience a cascade of pearls. Beneath the stairs live a scorpion and a dog. Only in a hammock is sleep possible. No rain for weeks. Daily, to wash the floor tiles, the housekeeper wets a rag, stands on it barefoot, and shuffles all around the room. To protect the inhabitants after cleaning, she stamps simple glyphs waist-high on the burnt orange walls. Her ancient rubber slippers resist firestorms. Yellow moon, flip side, or cherry ice cream, February, Saskatchewan. Early in Saskatoon, in a fog, I wake from a luscious dream of licking cherry ice cream in a weathered stone building. Might have been a convent. Out of doors, lacquer of ice preserves sky as a blued mosaic, chipped and meteoric. White vacant squares across Saskatchewan, glimpses of surveyors' ideas of true north, played out mid-century, mid-continent, where Joni Mitchell sprouted and skated and sang in choirs. Glittering, wind-driven, snow bruises Highway 6, gusty, lusty, restless, hiding tar perfume. The last declension of ice forms overhead and syllables crash, filling cocktail glasses at the Casino Regina. Airborne numbered cows and their auras animate Anne-Marie's textured canvases, and an antique clock is reconstructed upside down, its innards enhanced by aluminum dragonflies that spread wings and lift off every hour. So we drove as far as Buffalo Narrows on a dare, and stayed. A disturbance in the key of B. Arms crossed, I lean on the tabletop. It's a public place and I'm really hungry, but I hate eating in front of others. It's either squish food down in 2 or 3 bites or chew each mouthful 100 times, a feat I've managed only once on mescaline with an apple. A human might be watching. If I were invisible, I would crave to be noticed. Art carries no straightforward message, so it can always mean the opposite. When I was in grade school, a family friend exhorted me to be whatever I wanted. If I said explorer, he'd wink, but if I said writer, he'd throw up his hands and leave the house. My room has a mahogany door and shuttered windows. Beyond the veranda, the painted concrete emulates lawn. Even so, I want to lie down on it with a grass stem between my teeth. When I finally force myself to go out the door rather than vault over the windowsill, I've run out of oranges. The sky clouds up. The stars are invisible. It feels like infinity could take up residence in me, some rough place like my liver that won't see daylight. Where are the sources of the self? I need to find mine and give them a good shaking.